It's time for the Splash Live from Civic Center TV, featuring stories from and about people like you in the greater West Bloomfield area. Simulcast on cable, 89.3 Lakes FM, social media, and the web. Now live from Green Media Center on Walnut Lake Road, it's the Splash Live.
Live, local, social, it's the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. I'm your host, Tyler Kieft. Thank you for joining us. On Monday, we recognized the one-year anniversary of the horrific shooting at Michigan State University that took the lives of three students at the time, juniors Ariel Anderson and Alexandria Werner, and then sophomore Brian Frazier. And earlier on this week, we had mentioned to you on this show, we showed you a picture of outside Keego Harbor City Hall, where this week the city has of course been flying the American flag as well as the state of Michigan's flag, but also hung the green and white Michigan State University flag to commemorate the one-year anniversary. With that picture from a Facebook post online earlier this week, Mayor Rob Kalman, who posted this photo, mentioned the special connection that he has to Berkey Hall, one of the two locations where these shootings occurred on February 13th, 2023. Joining us now on the Splash Live is Mayor Robert Kalman from the city of Keego Harbor. Mayor, thank you for being with us.
Thanks, Tyler. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, appreciate having you on and appreciate the gesture from the city of Keego Harbor to commemorate the one-year anniversary and recognize not only the victims that were on site at Berkey Hall and the MSU Union, but those affected throughout the Michigan State community. And that includes you, who at one point was a grad student at Michigan State. And you mentioned in this Facebook post that you made with that picture that you have a special connection to Berkey Hall.
Yeah, I spent 2 years in East Lansing in grad school at my MBA from the Broad School, and I had a grad assistant position, and I worked in Berkey Hall for the second year. I just remember, like a lot of people, hearing the news and, that sense of doom and just, if you will, just a memory of working in the building and seeing the kids walking in and out and the staff that used to work there. So I just want people to remember every year what happened and understand the impact that gun violence has on not just at Michigan State or at Stony, in Parkland down in Florida, or yesterday even in Kansas City at the celebration for the Super Bowl victory, where there was a shooting where a number of kids were shot. So I think it's important to every year remember what happened and the impact that guns have on our society.
And you said something that really stuck out to me in your post as well, that you were on campus in East Lansing in the days following the shooting a year ago, and you went by Berkey Hall. You went by other areas that you had frequented or that were affected quite directly by the shooting, and said it just didn't feel right on that campus. Something felt different. Something felt very dark about being in that environment. And I can attest to that, too, having been on campus in the days after the shooting last year, really the week after as kids were coming back. And that's just not the way that any environment should feel out in the public, Rob, and all the more reason why it's important to recognize this from the city of Keego Harbor, because it doesn't just affect people in East Lansing when things like these happen in East Lansing or in some other location. It affects everybody that has any sort of connection, especially to these common environments.
I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. I was looking at the Brady website, and some of the data that you read, it's striking. I don't think people realize. And I'm just going to glance over at it. Every day, 23 children and teens, 1 to 17, are shot in the United States. 6 die from gun violence. Every year, 117,000 and change people are shot in our country. And when I was up there that day, I had gone to campus after I went out to a rally over near the Capitol. And, I supported my former state rep, Brenda Carter, and my current state senator, Rosemary Bayer. They were trying to work through some common sense gun legislation, and I was up there with them, standing beside them. And so I drove over to campus, and I walked around, and I took it in, and it did it. You felt a small difference, and I wanted to experience campus again. and try and remember what it was like before and see what's going on there right now in a small way, just support some of the kids on campus.
And it's important for leadership across our communities to recognize the ways that people are going to continue to be affected by these tragedies, whether it's in the days after or in the years after. Earlier on this week at the school board meeting, Julie Beatty had mentioned it in the Good for the Order section, that we should be mindful of people that are mourning on this 1-year anniversary and around this time of the year for this. And that's all the more reason why those little gestures like what happened at your city hall, flying the MSU flag, can have such a big impact, and why from a leadership standpoint those gestures are more than gestures. They're signs of compassion from our local government to our residents.
Yeah, I agree. I'll tell you this, nobody complained to me about having the flag up there. I think it was appreciated. A lot of Spartan alumni in town commented. We did it last year too. It flew in the week after the shooting last year, and I called and said, let's put it up for a couple days here and let everybody remember what happened and think about the impact that gun violence has in the community.
Well, as a Spartan alum myself also, I appreciate that, and thank you for recognizing those in the city of Keego Harbor that have been affected by that, and of course those also in the local community. And thank you for your time also this morning, Mayor.
Hey, thanks, Tyler. Anytime.
Appreciate it. The flag at Keego Harbor City Hall flying in recognition of the 1-year anniversary of the tragic shooting at Michigan State University that took the lives of 3 students. Ariel Anderson, who would be a senior at MSU this year from Grosse Pointe, Alexandria Werner, who also would be a senior at MSU from Clawson, and then Brian Frazier, who would have been a junior at MSU from Grosse Pointe Park, as well as injuring several others. There was a recognition on Monday night and a memorial program on the campus of Michigan State near Spartan Stadium, where thousands came out from across the MSU community to commemorate the 1-year anniversary and, again, bring attention to those that are mourning and those that are in need of some love, both on campus and throughout the Michigan State community. If you are interested in helping students as they continue to recover and continue to mourn and cope with this tragedy even a year later and beyond, the Spartan Strong Fund continues to help with programs on campus, including those that are ongoing this week. And you can donate to that Spartan Strong Fund. So should you decide to do so, givingto.msu.edu/Spartan-strong.cfm is their website, or just search Spartan Strong Fund online to find more information. Live, local, social, it's The Splash live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. We'll take a quick break and get into more stories from across our 4 communities next.
We'll be right back with The Splash Live.
Good nutrition can help make sure you have enough iron, calcium, and vitamin C in your body, which can make it harder for lead to enter your bloodstream. Help protect your family from the harmful effects of lead.
I don't know why you're so sad. You've got a roof over your head.
You gotta stop with that depression stuff. That's what white people think. You all right?
It just feels like it's coming from everywhere.
Do you want to talk about it?
You can talk to me if you're feeling sad.
Whenever you need to talk, I'm here, okay?
1 in 4 Michigan homes has high levels of radon, a naturally occurring radioactive gas known to cause lung cancer. It doesn't matter where you live or what type of home you have. You won't even know it's there unless you test. So don't wait. Testing is cheap and easy. And if there's a problem, it's simple to fix. Visit michigan.gov/radon to learn more.
We took action. Will you?
This is Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. On cable and the radio. On the web too, and on social media. Civic Center TV, television that's close to home. And now, back to The Splash, live.
Live, local, social, it's The Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. Welcome back. I'm your host, Tyler Kieft. Thank you for being with us today. Later on this afternoon, there will be a special event at Fire Station number 5 on Maple Road in West Bloomfield as the West Bloomfield Fire Department partners with Families Against Narcotics for an ongoing program called Hope and Healing, looking to provide resources and information on resources related to substance misuse disorders and how they can be prevented and how those of us in our communities can intervene to prevent tragic overdose-related deaths right here in the greater West Bloomfield area. Earlier on in this week, we had Fire Marshal Dave DeBoer on the program to talk about this upcoming event and why it's important that these resources, whether it's nasal Narcan training or even just nasal Narcan itself and other materials, learning materials, are important for our communities to have easy access to and dedicated access from partnerships across our community. Let's hear what he had to say.
The goal of those resources is to have them out in the field, have them in people's hands, because we know it takes us as paramedics about 6 minutes to get to you. And 6 minutes is way too much time if somebody's not breathing. If they've overdosed, we need to get that medication in them faster. And we have success stories here in West Bloomfield where that medication has been administered by bystanders and kept that person alive long enough for the paramedics to get there and save their life. So, and the importance of that is it gives that person that next opportunity to get into a rehab program, to get the help they need, and hopefully break that addiction. That's the goal of it, and we think it's working. It's not uncommon to hear from people struggling with substance abuse disorder that they overdosed multiple times before they finally said enough is enough and got help.
And there are different resources from a number of different organizations partnering with the West Bloomfield Fire Department, with the Township Library, parks, and so on that have resources across the community. You may see these boxes called Save a Life boxes that have a number of different resources in them, including nasal Narcan or naloxone, as you're seeing an example of a pack on your screen on civiccentertv.com. And Families Against Narcotics, this Hope and Healing event, providing information on these resources, how we can get access to them as members of our community, why it's important for us to know about these different resources and how to implement them in our day-to-day life, and just how much these resources truly do save lives. So if you're looking to learn more information, Fire Station number 5 on Maple Road, just west of Drake Road and Henry Ford West Bloomfield Hospital in West Bloomfield. 3 o'clock this afternoon, the Hope and Healing kickoff event with Families Against Narcotics and the West Bloomfield Fire Department. You can keep up to date on even more information from the Fire Department on this and other events and initiatives in our community. Facebook.com/WB Fire Department, and for Families Against Narcotics, you can also find them on Facebook. Facebook.com/Oakland Fan or Oakland FAN for more information. West Bloomfield Parks continues its efforts in our community to promote a green lifestyle across the greater West Bloomfield area. Now, their green dream, as they call it, for the month of February is to be mindful of invasive species. Now, invasive species are pretty common, unfortunately. They come in from a number of different areas around our country and around the world and invade our local ecosystems. Now, sometimes they are just a little bit of an annoyance, but sometimes they can be highly detrimental to our local environments. In particular, West Bloomfield Parks this month mentioning the harm that invasive species have on our wetlands, invading and crowding natural plant life and habitats, which of course harm native plants and native animals in our waterways. And we love our water here in greater West Bloomfield. So if you come into contact with some invasive species or you're noticing a major overgrowth and maybe you're not sure, a great resource to understand invasive species or to open maybe an investigation from experts is Midwest Invasive Species Information Network, as was referenced by West Bloomfield Parks on their Facebook post about their green dream for the month of February. A resource you can find is on that website for the Midwest Invasive Species Information Network. You can report invasive species in your local area, MISIN.msu.edu, and click on their report button at the top of the page. Again, that website, MISIN.msu.edu. www.msu.edu. It's also included in this Facebook post about the February Green Dream from West Bloomfield Parks on their Facebook page, facebook.com/WBParks, where they also had mentioned, quote, "Our goal is to assist both experts and citizens in the detection and identification of invasive species in support of successful management." That, of course, the mission from the Midwest Invasive Species Network. Again, Facebook at WB Parks for more information on how you can help keep our environment nice, neat, and tidy, especially as we get toward the summer season and we all look to have fun out on the water. Live, local, social, it's The Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. On the other side, how you can recognize volunteers right here in our community. Time is running out on some of these award nominations. You're going to want to stay tuned to learn more. Stay with us.
We'll be right back with The Splash Live. Want to enjoy Civic Center TV on your social media? Find us on Instagram at Civic Center TV. Get notified when we upload one of our interviews, full episodes, and more. Thank you for watching and listening to Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM.
When you have a gambling problem, you have a money problem. Don't let your gambling cause you financial hardship. If you or someone you love is struggling with gambling, we can help. Get free confidential counseling and win your life back. Learn more at michigan.gov/problemgambling.
Live, local, and social. It's The Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. Join our team as we highlight people and events that are making an impact in the greater West Bloomfield area. Catch us live Monday to Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. Watch us on demand at civiccentertv.com. Or watch us on TV at Comcast Channel 15 or AT&T at Channel 99. What people are watching in Orchard Lake, Civic Center TV, and 89.3 Lakes FM. And now, back to The Splash, live.
Live, local, social, it's The Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. I'm your host, Tyler Keefe. Welcome back. Thank you for joining us. And as always, you can keep up to date with our show on civiccentertv.com. It is that time of the year where we start to recognize those making a big difference in our community each and every day. We start off with the kids in May on May 1st with the West Bloomfield Youth Assistance Youth Recognition Awards for 2024. Nominations are underway right now for kids in the West Bloomfield School District and those that are also volunteering in a way that affects the West Bloomfield community directly. However, these nominations mostly centered around students in the West Bloomfield School District, as we have many school districts in the greater West Bloomfield community that also have their own individual youth assistance programs and awards ceremonies. So if you're interested in nominating kids that are volunteering and making a difference in our local area from in the West Bloomfield schools, you can visit wbyyouthassistance.org or Facebook at WB Youth Assistance to fill out their nomination form. Tell them about the kid, about where they're volunteering, how it's having an impact on the community, and why they are worthy of recognition from West Bloomfield Youth Assistance in 2024. They must be of school age and be in the West Bloomfield School District, or at the very least, the community service has to be serving the West Bloomfield community directly in order to qualify. That being said, if their volunteer service hours are being utilized for class credit, they may not be eligible for these awards. So again, find all the regulations, all the requirements for the West Bloomfield Youth Assistance Youth Recognition Awards on wbyyouthassistance.org. We're also running out of time for nominations for Michigan Week's 2024 awards nominations. Those come to an end in a little over 24 hours. Friday night, February 16th, 11:59 p.m. Nominations lock into place, And then we move on to going through those nominations, our Michigan Week team, and deciding who will be recognized at that May 10th, 2024, 7 a.m. ceremony at Temple Israel and live here on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. We recently had the pleasure to talk to someone that knows a little bit of everything about all things Michigan Week and especially awards nominations. Deb Macon from the Michigan Week Community Awards Committee joined us recently on the Splash Live. So to get even more information on what they're looking for, how to nominate, and why it's important we recognize these volunteers, let's take a look back at that conversation.
It is just a pleasure to be here with you, Tyler. And what a grand introduction. You put all the important pieces really tight. No one will miss.
Hey, you know what? I appreciate the appreciation there. Good notes. I will send that to my boss. I'll send that over to Dave after today's show.
Yes,
Deb, let's get
absolutely.
into it. The nominations are open right now, and we're looking to nominate volunteers who have made a big commitment to our community and have made a big impact. What are we looking for specifically from those volunteers? Who qualifies for these nominations?
Well, you know what? I'm going to add just a little bit because this is about excellence everywhere. And in addition to looking for volunteers who see outstanding things happening and who actually make them happen, we also have categories that highlight professionalism in the workplace, whatever that workplace might be, and who is someone contributing to the community in an impactful way.
And so if people are interested, they know someone, they hear that and they think, I know this person, or that person in my school. How do they go about making that nomination?
Oh, all right. Well, Tyler, I know you're going to put up as well how to reach us, MichiganWeek.org. We are fully digital now, so anyone going to our MichiganWeek.org webpage can get more than a snapshot of our history, how we came to be, what we are looking for. And there are 9 categories in which individuals have an opportunity to have their stories told and shared broadly. And we like to think, because of our partnership with Civic Center TV, around the world.
Yeah, they do. They get recognized for all their great work, and it's a beautiful ceremony. And that kind of brings it back to these people that are volunteering. They're giving their time, they're giving their energy, they're giving their heart and their soul to their community. They're not looking for this sort of recognition. And so how does that play into why it's even more important for us to recognize them in this way?
Well, you know what, Tyler, that's just a grand way to say it, because here's what is underlying much of this work. Volunteers are the ones who see something that needs to happen. Someone who sees a change needs to be made in the community. So what we're doing also, by the way, as volunteers who celebrate the grand stories of Greater West Bloomfield, it's our whole role to lift up excellence. And we're wanting to shine a bright light on what community-based organizations, neighborhoods, businesses, local government. You pick the arena, and we've designed a specific category or way to highlight what has happened to make a grand difference. And this is also where it's really fun to be able to say, every year we pick a wonderful theme, and this year's theme speaks to the global nature of what residents, families, those who live, work, attend school here in Greater West Bloomfield are all about. We believe volunteers make the world go round, and that's the theme. And what we're looking for, we have neighbors, we have families, community-based organizations, businesses that choose to contribute globally, maybe in their neighborhood, maybe bigger in the township or in either of the 3 cities, and also make an impact in countries around the world. And their carrying our hearts from Greater West Bloomfield with them when they do this.
And that's all the more reason why Deb's got the biggest smile on her face. It's her favorite thing every year, Michigan Week, and it's ours too. It's so heartwarming, and you have a chance to nominate someone and possibly get them an award for their great work in our community. Nominations are open now through February 16th at 11:59 p.m. All you got to do is go to MichiganWeek.org. MichiganWeek.org. You can also follow them on Facebook at GWBMW for even more information. Deb, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Appreciate having Deb making on to tell us all about Michigan Week's awards and all their nomination categories, how you go about that. Again, want to give you a reminder, you are running out of time to make those nominations. A little bit over 24 hours from now, those nominations do lock in. 11:59 p.m. on Friday night, February 16th. That is the deadline to get your nominations in for Michigan Week's 2024 awards. Go to MichiganWeek.org to put in your nominations now and help recognize volunteers in our community. And, of course, join us back on May 10th, that Friday morning, 7 o'clock from Temple, Israel, and, of course, on our live broadcast here on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. Live, local, social, it's the Splash Live each and every day on all of our outlets. We'll take a short break on the other side, exploring elements of local history.
We'll be right back with the Splash Live. Want to enjoy Civic Center TV on your social media? Follow us on Twitter at Civic Center TV. Get notified when we upload one of our interviews, full episodes, and more. Thank you for watching and listening to Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM.
Many people are feeling overwhelmed and struggling with mental wellness these days. So be kind to your mind. Give yourself permission to breathe. Share your feelings. You are not alone. Have hope. Talk to a Stay Well counselor for free confidential help 24/7 through the COVID-19 hotline.
In the face of COVID-19, staying healthy is important.
And now the same is true in the face of flu.
Influenza has the power to infect millions.
But it's easy to protect yourself, your family, and your community.
The flu vaccine is safe and effective. And with COVID-19 still around,
it's essential. Together we can face flu season head on.
Visit michigan.gov/flu.
What people are watching in West Bloomfield. Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. And now, back to the Splash, live.
Live, local, social, welcome back to the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. I'm your host, Tyler Kieft. Thank you for joining us, and as always, we encourage you to keep up to date with our program on our Facebook page at Civic Center TV 15 and always live and on demand on our YouTube as well at Civic Center TV. Hit that subscribe button, hit that bell icon. You'll get notifications every time that we go live with this show or any other special programming. And you'll also get notifications in your email inbox when we post new videos, and everything you'll need to know about your four communities from our outlets will be right with you each and every day. CivicCenterTV.com, the place to go for all of those links to find us on social media, and of course, on demand 7 days a week. Right down the street from us on Orchard Lake Road and Long Lake is the beacon of local history in our four communities, the Greater West Bloomfield Historical Society. Their very own museum for just our local community sits there with artifacts from across local history, and you have several chances each and every month, including coming up later on this week, to explore those trinkets of our local communities. Jake Schaff has the story.
Jake Schaff with Civic Center TV here at the Orchard Lake Museum, where this past Sunday the doors were open to take us on an incredible journey through history. Countless artifacts from the early days of Orchard Lake and Apple Island were on display, each one telling its own story of the early settlers of the city. Carol Fink of the West Bloomfield Historical Society was in charge of the event, and I had the chance to speak with her about these artifacts and what they truly mean to the city of Orchard Lake.
We're a very small, intimate museum that has to do with very local items. We got a lot of things from the Michigan Military Academy, which was a really vital part of this area. So we go all the way back from there, going back to when the Native Americans lived here, the indigenous people, the early trappers. The range would be from several thousand years old for our mastodon bones and as current as a telephone and typewriter.
What do you find the most interesting about the items here?
Oh, that's a really good question. I find everything really interesting, but I think that we start from so long ago and going up to current day, and our museum is a very intimate museum. It's a family museum. Many of our artifacts are donated from local families. So I think it's so interesting that not only are we seeing our history, but we are a part of our history.
Do you have a personal favorite item?
All the items are my personal favorites. Probably our largest item would be one of our dugout canoes that was found on a Cedar Lake, which is just a few miles from here. Canoes were the early pickup trucks, or the early trucks that would travel. So they would go from here all the way portage to different lakes, all the way up to the Detroit River, and then on to the big lakes. I'm really attached to our indigenous people because they were the ones that taught us everything. They were out here first. This is their land. Apple Island was their island. So we love to showcase as much as we can about the Native people and to thank them every day.
What do you hope people take away from these exhibits?
I think a sense of homeness, familiarity. We are very lucky. We are a region of a melting pot of people and cultures and religions. And for people to learn that this went on here, and I think what I want people to take away is how important our history is. And once again, our history is not pretty. We don't display it as always being beautiful and happy. So it's very important that we tell the true story of our history, of how we are here today. And once again, acknowledging the indigenous people, to our Michigan Military Academy, to our everyday farmers and pioneers and early school people. So I want you to take away that this was everybody's home. Just take away that we all have a past. And hopefully we all have a future, but all of us come from somewhere, and it's really important to tell and share the stories of your past.
Powerful stories indeed. Now, if you didn't have a chance to check out this open house this past weekend, not to worry. The doors will be opening again this upcoming Friday, February 16th, as well as Sunday, February 25th. For Civic Center TV, I'm Jake Schaff.
Appreciate it, Jake. And again, those times for both Friday this week and for Sunday next week, 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock, you can find a full listing of open houses and other fun events happening at the Greater West Bloomfield Historical Society, including at the Orchard Lake Museum. GWBHS.org, or follow them on Facebook at GWBHS. Live, local, social, it's The Splash Live on Civic Center TV at 89.3 Lakes FM each and every day of your work week. We'll take a short break. On the other side, some upcoming fun in Keego Harbor, all in support of the kids. Stay with us.
We'll be right back with The Splash Live.
Hi, Lisa Brown here, reminding you that Michigan's presidential primary is February 27th, and the 9 days of early voting begin February 17th. Remember, in the presidential primary, you must choose either a Democratic, Republican, or nonpartisan ballot if applicable. Thank you for taking part in our democracy.
I don't know why you're so sad. You've got a roof over your head.
You gotta stop with that depression stuff. That's a white people thing. You all right?
It just feels like it's coming from everywhere.
Do you want to talk about it?
You can talk to me if you're feeling sad.
Whenever you need to talk, I'm here, okay?
1 in 4 Michigan homes has high levels of radon, a naturally occurring radioactive gas known to cause lung cancer. It doesn't matter where you live or what type of home you have. You won't even know it's there unless you test. So don't wait. Testing is cheap and easy. And if there's a problem, it's simple to fix. Visit michigan.gov/radon to learn more.
We took action. Will you?
Good nutrition can help make sure you have enough iron, calcium, and vitamin C in your body, which can make it harder for lead to enter your bloodstream. Help protect your family from the harmful effects of lead.
And now, back to The Splash, live.
Live, local, social, it's The Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. I'm your host, Tyler Kieft. Welcome back, and thank you for joining us each and every day of your work week. In the city of Keego Harbor, the Optimist Club has events all throughout the year in support of fundraising to help children in our local community. Joining us to talk about the Optimist Club and some upcoming fun that they're holding right here in the heart of the lakes is Bill Bertakis. Bill, thanks for being with us.
Hi, good morning.
Yeah, glad to have you on as we have another fun event coming up in support of the Optimist Club of Keego Harbor. Before we get to talking about next week's fun and games at Gino's Pizzeria, let's just take a step back and begin by telling people about the Optimist Club of Keego Harbor. For those that aren't familiar, what is the club and how does it support kids in Keego?
Okay, well, a lot of people might get it confused with the chamber, and it's not that. You don't go there to support yourself. You go there for the sole purpose of kids. But, you know, meeting all these people, you get contacts, and they're all willing to help you. But they're solely for kids. And the West Bloomfield school system is very rare that it has two Optimist clubs in the same school district. I can't think of one across the country that has that. And the club was formed in 1973 in Keego, because it seemed like on the north end of the district, it was sort of ignored, you know, Roosevelt, Abbott, maybe Gretzko and Scotch. So we formed the other club. And so we do things for kids. There's things that you have to do. You have to have scholarships, encouraged to have essay and oratorical, but then the rest is up to you. You have to do your own fundraising. You know, you pay dues, and that's seed money to help you, but you have to do fundraising to do other things, you know. Also, we work with other clubs, the Jacket Club, the West Bloomfield Optimist Club, and especially during the holidays, we work with them, try to work together, and you know, we communicate well, so we don't step on each other's toes or you know, what are you doing? We want to make sure that we don't interfere with what you're doing. So we communicate well too. So, you know, we've been doing it. I've been in the club for 20 years. I got a good relationship for everybody and everything runs smooth.
Yeah, and that's an important point too, because you're partnering with these other clubs and they have the same mission as you do, helping kids in their communities and across our communities. And with multiple clubs, the West Bloomfield and the Keego Harbor Optimists organizations in the West Bloomfield School District, so much of what you do together and what you do separately affects kids across the school district. So going back into the ways that the Optimist Club helps the kids, how do you ultimately take those funds that you bring in from the fundraising efforts and bring that back to support the kids in Keego Harbor?
Well, one thing that's coming up is the essay contest, you know, in the middle school. And that was really careful because, you know, now there's only one middle school. So, you know, we had I'm actually good friends with Tom Sweeta, which is the chair of the essay contest of the West Bloomfield Club. So we wanted to make sure that we didn't interfere having the middle school. But we give medals and certificates for first, second, and third. And this year we're giving gift cards, $150 and $25 gift cards. And the medals are pretty cool too. And I told the kids it looks really good on your resume too when you get older. We do oratorical contests. We do that at Refuge. And that's worked so well that they've made that mandatory for every 8th grader. And when you have that many people doing it, you really get a good show. We give scholarships. We put flyers in the high school that we're giving scholarships. I think a 2,000, a 1,000, and a 500. I'd have to look that up, but that's and all this is coming up real soon. You know, it's always on the tail end of the school year. So, and anyways, too, if there's emergency, and it doesn't have to be kids. Like fireman got hurt, he needs a wheelchair ramp. We'll get with the other clubs. We'll pay for the wood, you pay for the labor. We'll get so-and-so to do it. So we're good to respond for anybody in the community too, but primarily it's for kids.
Yeah, and it goes back to that old saying that it takes a village to raise children, and in this case, the Optimist Club is one of the many elements of that village in the city of Keego Harbor that helps to keep the kids on a good path going forward, inspiring them, and of course, giving them an outlet for creativity and for building skills over the years. Bill Bertakis from the Optimist Club of Keego Harbor is with us on the Splash Live today. You got a really fun event coming up. You did this in January and it started off really strong, so it's coming back next week, Tuesday, at Gino's Pizzeria and Restaurant, bringing a Michigan staple to Gino's with a Euchre tournament. Tell us about that.
Yeah, well, sort of cool. I remember Jeff Lieb of the West Bloomfield Club said, you have to change presidents because things get stale. Well, our new president has a passion for Euchre. And I said, well, go do it and tell me what you want and I'll help you, And so we did it. Everybody had fun. We include pizza and salad and soft drinks, and the cost is $25. We had some raffle items. We had some door prizes. We had a 50-50, and we just had fun. Since COVID, a lot of this fun's gone away. And it's hard enough. All these clubs. I mean, the West Bloomfield Club. They told me they went down from 100 people to 66 to 33 people. We're down probably 22 to about 13 people. And I hear it from the Rotary Club and everybody's club, and you could just see the economy here. Mondays, half the places are closed. Everybody works 6 days a week. Everybody got rid of all their employees. Just the owners are working. Like when we had pumpkin decorating, we had to have drive-through. We had our first, where you went into the lunchroom and actually did crafts. We're trying to bring that back instead of making everything drive-through. It's just not the same. And I always have a sore feeling. When I was a kid, everything was available, everything was free, everything was fun, and I don't want. I want the kids to have at least half the opportunity I had, and it's nice seeing the kids too. I actually did a Roosevelt dance, the photography, and I bumped into some of the kids, and they said they had a lot of fun at some of the events, and so that's cool. And one time we did an Oratoco contest, and we had real judges from the district and circuit court judge. And they pulled me aside and he goes, "This is wonderful things you're doing. This is what keeps kids off the street. And I want them to like their community, so they're a little bit more respected for the community. And, and you're always fighting stuff. Roosevelt closing, they took down the lending library. What else is happening, that street, they redid the street and you can't turn left anymore. And that one lane's backed up for 4 miles. And that mobile home park, it's looking terrible. They had their permit went out, expired, so they had to get a new one. They're downsizing quite a bit from the original plan. So I just hope, it was a really fun place. I want to keep it that way.
Yeah, things are changing in our communities, and it makes it all the more important to have these organizations like the Optimist Club of Keego Harbor that are being supported by the community. So if people want to go out to this event, Tuesday, February 20th, that's next week Tuesday, 5 o'clock to 8 o'clock at Gino's Pizzeria and Restaurant. Kicks off with a Euchre refresher clinic at 5 o'clock, pizza and soft drinks at 5:30, followed by, of course, the Euchre tournament at 6. Bill, if people want to get involved with the Keego Harbor Optimist Club in the future, join in on your meetings. When do you meet? How can they get involved?
Well, we rotate around, so you'd have to contact somebody from the club. And we try to do this to share some of the money to each of the restaurants. We've been going to Leo's and Dunkin' Donuts and Brody's trying to share the wealth a little bit. And I'm glad you brought up that clinic because a lot of people are intimidated. Like I'm just the average player, and I don't want to upset moving at a moderate pace with some expert. And Mike is a really good teacher. He's our president, and actually some of the people that really never played, they held their own. And I know a lot of people need a refresher, but we did that. You come at 5 hours early, and we play a few hands, tell you some of the strategies and stuff, and help them. And actually, I made some stuff on the 3D printer to help us too about what's Trump and who's the dealer. So we're, and I think everybody had a great time last time because they had a few suggestions, like put the name tags. And it was really funny because some people never met people and they had a lot in common. They lived by each other's house, and that's part of the Optimist mission too. Is you're supposed to help do community defense, even if you do stuff at zero money. Like help Gino with the car show. You're supposed to help the community. We pick up the trash along Orchard Lake, too, and it just helps keep the community clean. So part of our mission is to do community defense. It could be low profit, but we have to fill that mission too.
And you do a great job of that, Bill. So we'll hope that people will join you out at Gino's 5 o'clock for the Euchre refresher. The tournament is at 6, and food, soft drinks in between that as well. Bill, thank you so much for being with us.
Yeah. So on the flyer, it's got some email and phone numbers. And
yes.
If you go to the Optimist website, there's a flyer there if you don't have a flyer. So I'm looking forward to it. I had a lot of fun last time.
All right, appreciate it, Bill. Thank you so much for being with us. Live, local, social. It's The Splash live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. We'll take a quick break. On the other side, we talk about changes in our communities. A local staple nearby us in the greater West Bloomfield is slated to be closed and possibly have to move to stay in operations after decades serving fun for generations in our community. We'll get some insight from a local resident on their thoughts on this change coming up next.
We'll be right back with The Splash Live. This is Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. On cable and the radio. On the web too, and on social media. Civic Center TV, television that's close to home.
Ronnie started doing prescription pills at the age of 15. And by 19, he died. If your child is struggling with drug use, try not to be too proud to reach out for help. Don't be worried about what the neighbor will think or your family. Just get your child the help they need. Sometimes it's the hard road to take, but the hard road is nothing compared to living with the fact that your child is no longer with you.
There's hope and help at drugfree.org.
Live, local, and social. It's The Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. Join our team as we highlight people and events that are making an impact in the greater West Bloomfield area. Catch us live Monday to Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. Watch us on demand at civiccentertv.com. Or watch us on TV at Comcast Channel 15 or AT&T at Channel 99. Find local municipal meetings at our program schedule on civiccentertv.com. Find when your meetings air live or when they're replaying on our Civic Center TV live stream. Find it all at civiccentertv.com and click schedule at the top of the screen. And now, back to The Splash, live.
Live, local, social, it's The Splash live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. I'm your host, Tyler Kieft. Thank you for being with us. For generations, Marvin's Marvelous Mechanical Museum has been a staple for families to visit for fun and games all throughout the year. And unfortunately, in recent months, some changes in the city of Farmington Hills with a planned unit development on that property mean that Marvin's Marvelous Mechanical Museum is going to be closing. And if it's going to remain open, it's going to have to move. Farmington Hills City Council voting unanimously on Monday, according to the Detroit Free Press, to allow the strip mall's owners that currently house Marvin's to replace the building with a new grocery store, presumed to be a new location for Meijer. Residents of the city have been fighting for the Farmington Hills staple for months, including a change.org petition that has well over 50,000 signatures. But now the future of Marvin's is up in question. They do plan to stay in business at least through the end of the year, hopefully, depending on how this progress moves forward. At many of these meetings over the past several months, we've heard from residents from throughout not only Farmington Hills, but surrounding areas, including one from right here in West Bloomfield who joins us now on the Splash Live. Emily Moretsky is with us. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
Glad to have you on, as this has struck a chord with you as it has with so many others in our local community. Let's just start off with Marvin's in general. What does that place mean to you and to your family?
Marvin's is a really special place to me and my family. I'm a child of divorce, and Marvin's is where my dad would take me when he would come in from Windsor every other day to hang out with me for an hour or two, to give my mom a break, but also to get his visitation in. So that's just where it started for me. And then not even that, with it being originally from Tally Hall, where my parents used to hang out, which is even cooler. And it's a staple of the community. You have to support small businesses, but at the same time, it's got a lot of sentimental value, and that's the best part.
And so when you heard that this location was going to possibly be at risk of closure with a planned unit development in Farmington Hills, what was your initial reaction before you ultimately spoke at a city council meeting?
I cried. I'm not gonna lie, I cried. I was angry. We don't need another Meijer there. There are 4 different Meijer locations within 20 minutes of that exact location. It's not needed. There's a Whole Foods across the street. There's an Aldi on the other side. It's not needed.
And so with the news now that it's going to ultimately leave that location and possibly have to move just to stay open, and all indications at this time are that Marvin's team over there is going to pursue moving its location, not shuttering the business altogether. Where do you want to see it go?
Out of Farmington Hills and out of that area mainly. I'm so angry that they're making them move, but it's got to have some sort of historic power to make them not be able to have to move. West Bloomfield would be great. I also think for some reason it would do really well in Detroit, possibly. But that's really the only other thing I can think of, but just to keep it where it is.
Yeah, because this has been a business that so many people from across Metro Detroit, really even beyond Metro Detroit, have come to our local area for in years past. So many people speaking out in support of Marvin's in recent months, even dating back to November when this story first came about, and those first initial planning commission meetings where people were speaking out about this started to come up. Emily Moretsky is with us. She is a West Bloomfield resident, one of the many people that went to these meetings over the past several months to speak in support of Marvin's Marvelous Mechanical Museum. And so, Emily, as we approach presumably the end of 2024 later on this year, and the end of Marvin's run at its current location, its original location, how will you commemorate that and participate in these final months?
I will definitely be going there and hanging out probably every Sunday until the end of the year. But otherwise, just looking back at the memories I have and cherishing them for the rest of my life.
Well, Emily, we appreciate you joining us to give us your insight on this, as it has a special connection not only to people in Farmington Hills, but to nearby cities, especially here in West Bloomfield. And as someone that also grew up in this township and also went to Marvin's many, many times with my family, and others on our team also telling me about that earlier on this week as we talked about this story. We appreciate your time, appreciate your insight. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Marvin's at this time does plan to remain open for a while at this location. According to a Detroit Free Press article from earlier on this week, the museum told them it hopes to remain open regularly through the end of this year. And again, just to recap, the Farmington Hills City Council approving a planned unit development suggested for approval by the Planning Commission unanimously on Monday. The City Council in Farmington Hills voted in favor of that. That will turn the current strip mall in that location into presumably a new Meijer location, although it's been zoned and been approved for a new grocery store. So Meijer is expected to go up in that location. Yesterday, of course, was Valentine's Day, and so many people across our community celebrating with their significant others. But then there were our heroes celebrating with people right here in our community. Here is James Pettinato, an officer with the West Bloomfield Police Department, and Greg Flynn, of course, the chief of our West Bloomfield Fire Department, who joined residents out at Provision Living in West Bloomfield for a Valentine's Day celebration and getting in some dancing as well. Putting aside the police-fire rivalry for some Valentine's Day fun and sharing the love with the residents of the greater West Bloomfield community. That being said, Valentine's Day is over. So the police-fire rivalry, you put that aside for Valentine's Day. Have a nice, lovely time with all these wonderful ladies at Provision Living in West Bloomfield. But now we got to get back on the rivalry. So I got to pose a question to you, watching and listening. Sports guy here. What do you think? Who do you think won? Who is the better dancer out of Officer James and Chief Greg Flynn? Let us know in the comments. Civic Center TV 15 on Facebook, Civic Center TV on YouTube. And make sure when you answer that question of who you think is the better dancer between Officer Pettinato and Chief Greg Flynn, you tag the West Bloomfield Police Department at West Bloomfield PD and the West Bloomfield Fire Department at WB Fire Department. Let us know. Really cool story. Really nice to see those smiling faces, those ladies enjoying some Valentine's Day dancing with some of our local heroes. If you're looking for work in our community, some great opportunities on the docket as we head into later portions of the school year and head toward summer. The West Bloomfield School District continues to seek new employees to work in its food service department. 4.5 to 7.5 hour daily positions are open at this time, with pay upwards of $13 per hour. It's a great job for those that maybe want to do some part-time work during the day while your kids are in school. Maybe spend some time with your kids in school as well on some of those days, and of course bring some extra money in as well. It's a great work environment, and jobs are currently available in their food service department and others throughout the West Bloomfield School District. Visit wbsd.org for more information. They've also made some recent Facebook posts about these job openings as well that you can get even more information on, get links to go directly to their pages to apply for these jobs. Facebook at West Bloomfield Schools for even more information. And as we head into the summer months, the best place to work in the summer is to get outdoors into our parks with West Bloomfield Parks. They are looking to have you join them for what they're calling the best summer ever. Some open interviews, some group interviews for positions across our West Bloomfield Park system are coming up very soon. They're hiring for summer positions with open interviews beginning next week from 3 to 6 p.m. on February 23rd, as well as both on March 14th and April 17th. From 3 to 6 p.m. at the Recreation Activity Center. Open interviews. Come on in, apply and interview for a number of different positions, and perhaps join the West Bloomfield Parks team for their favorite season of the year in the summer. In addition, group interviews will be held in the coming weeks as well, March 2nd and 30th at the Recreation Activity Center from 9 a.m. until 12 noon. They're looking for a number of different staffing areas to cover. Of course, Lily Pad Springs will be open before we know it. Look, it's been feeling like spring lately. We're expecting some snow coming up, but sooner or later, the sunshine's going to be here, the warmth is going to be here, and you're going to want to get back out to one of the favorite locations in West Bloomfield for fun over the warmer months at Lily Pad Springs. Looking for staff for their team for over the summers. Plus, summer camp staff at Camp WB, interns in their recreation and their nature teams. Great places to start your career if you're looking to get into recreation or you're looking to get into jobs in nature or as a naturalist. These are great teams to learn from if you're looking to be an intern. Plus, looking for staff for their parks maintenance as they maintain our parks all throughout the summer months with fun events and, of course, tending to all the landscapes there at Drake Sports Park, at Marshbank Park, and beyond. For more information on these jobs, visit West Bloomfield Parks' website at wbparks.org, or you can join them on their Facebook page at WB Parks. Live, local, social, it's The Splash live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM all throughout your work week. Stay with us. We'll have more of our shows coming up very soon. Thank you for joining us on The Splash Live.